everyone, Karen the Warp Spinster here. Welcome to my channel and thanks for spending time with me today. Last week we did this sedimentary piece with curves and I promised that I would do it with some prints instead of mostly solids. So we'll do that today, and then there are a couple of other things that I would like to do. One is to design the curves such that the circles will fit in between the curves. So I'll have a curve that will do something like that, and then a water bubble or whatever will fit in between. Maybe this is a little fossil or something. That's what it is. It'll be a fossil inside the sedimentary layers. A honking big fossil in between the layers. We'll see about doing a black and white stripe in there somewhere. We might not. I don't know. And then I also want to try the whole fault line thing where we slice it and shift it up, see how that looks. So that's the plan for the day. Probably won't be a lot of demo here because we've already done this and you can refer back to that. But at least some of the cutting and designing, I think we can record and see how it goes. Sorry, I haven't had a chance to respond to your questions yet. By the time this drops, I hope that I will have a chance to respond to all your comments. I appreciate them. Thank you very much. And for all your good wishes, I wish them right back to you. So again, I'm going to start with white. Am I going to stick with white? That is the question. Let's try that because it will be something a little different. And then we'll do... Of course, we could do black as well. That could be kind of interesting. Should we try black? Maybe we'll do small samples of each and then take it from there just to see how we like. With these bright colors, I think, of course, it will make it pop, so it will be a different look entirely, but perhaps I will do that. So I will dig out some black and we'll make our first curve cut. I have a piece of black here ready to cut a curve, and I'm going to cut the curve in the black first and then do the strips separately and cut the same curve. You asked why I'm doing it that way instead of cutting two layers at once, and it's mostly to prevent the shifting. If you've got two layers, then the top layer is naturally going to shift and move down. So it's also easier for me to visualize what's going where, what the curve looks like, and where best to place it so that I'm not over or undershooting whatever is underneath that I can't really see. So let's start with, and I want to have a fairly deep curve, which is a little more challenging to sew, but not enough to make it a problem. So I'm going to start here, trying to map out here. If I want, say, a bubble going here, and then maybe one up here. So let's try doing this. Freehand curves are always great joy, aren't they? All right. And then I can save this for another piece. And this would leave room down here if I decided to do another small piece here. If I'm doing a block or whatever, I would likely add some more black down here, but for the moment, this works just fine. I have to find a long enough strip for this in my strip stash here. I may have to go raid my other strip stash because I'm not seeing anything particularly long in here. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go dive and I will be back. I may want to kind of audition which ones I want to use together here. And I also pulled out this jelly roll, what I have left of it. It has some nice pieces in here, including stripes, and it would be kind of fun to do one that's all stripes so you get that vertical bit on top of the horizontal wave. So that might be another thing to try as well. We could do a whole sampler of these, right? So I will clean up this mess a little bit, and I will save you from that, and I'll be back in a minute. Some mess is going to be inevitable, of course, because we are working with pre-cuts here. And this is going to have to be at an angle on the strip because it's a narrow strip and we've got a pretty steep curve going on here. So I want to leave enough for the next piece to be attached there. So I will do this curve, so I will cut to match that and do the usual curve thing, which is needle down, go slowly, if possible, convex on top, and just stop and shift as you need to, gently move the fabric over. It's going to be quite striking with the black against the pink, isn't it? Pink and orange. You have this curved piece now, looks kind of like half a fish at the moment, half a fish diving. And I could cut the same curve as this piece that we trimmed from here. I'm going to lose some over here. Not a worry to me right now. So I can cut that same curve. I can shift it a little, or I can cut this a little differently. I've got plenty of room here. I still want the deep cut to put the circle in, but it doesn't have to follow this so exactly. So I think we'll see how this goes, which is the name of the game on this channel, isn't it? We'll see. So in this case, I'm going to follow the curve. I don't have much room there, so I haven't much choice. And then when I get here though, I think I want to make it a little wider than it is here. Partly because I have to make allowance for seam there. I'm sorry about my elbow running through there. No way around it, I'm afraid. All right, so that's still going to be pretty narrow because I've got a seam happening there. So that will give me a little more seam room, give us a little variety in the width of that. So again, I'm going to mark the end where that starts. This is going to be, I moved that a little bit. This is going to be convex curve, so I'm going to prefer it starting here. And let me find something to mark it with here. And I will sew that, and we will come back and decide what we are going to do with the next strip of sediment. All right, we've got a decent slice of sediment here. Clearly something happened over here, right? And we have room for bubbles, dots, circles, whatever. Really can be quite a bit bigger than that. Maybe we want to have a couple in there, but certainly is enough for a pretty good sized bubble in there. Now, next up, I'm wondering if it wouldn't be kind of fun to do a stripe or a dot that goes with this. So we've got purple and pink stripe. I'm making quite a mess over to the side, trying to keep all of the schmutz stuff off the camera. So do something like this instead of a black and white stripe, or in addition to a black and white stripe. What do you think? Let's find a black and white stripe here somewhere. And see what we think in comparison. Now, nothing says we can't do both, of course. So there's a black and white stripe. Here's that stripe. You know me and black and white stripes. I'm thinking that's up next. And I think I want it to be still follow this line. I don't think I'm ready to have a space to plop the dot yet. So I'm going to cut a curve that maybe narrows a little here, is a little wider up here, and then narrows down here. That's too wide up there, I think. I want it to be narrower here because it's wider here. I think I'll do a little contrast there. And up and over. This, I think I still want to be, well, that's not so bad, but as I'm coming down here, I think I still want that narrower. Okay. There we go. Got enough of a scrap to use in some other quilt somewhere. Goes into the stash. Now, another 1/4 inch. I think I'm making that even narrower, just for a little bit of interest. You have to kind of keep in mind how wide that 1/4 inch is going to be. There, that's a little better, I think. Is this too wide yet? Excuse me. Didn't make a very good transition going in there, so that's better. Now I will cut that stripe with the same curve, sew it, and we'll be back for the next decision. Sorry about so much stripe. Probably not doing your eyes much good. But I wanted to point out that because I'm using narrow strips and I have to shift things for being able to fill in all these curves, then this stripe is not going to be horizontal, or I'm sorry, vertical in relation to this base here. And that's all right because, you know, as it's going uphill, I suppose that should probably go uphill. So just to point that out, so I know this is not going to be perpendicular to the base and suits my purposes just fine. I think we're ready for the next strip, print strip, and I think that will be our last one before I put in some more black there to create the space for the next bubble to come through, and that will fit in there. Same process. I'm going to perhaps make this again quite narrow, almost as if this is weighing it down, which of course is not in keeping with our theme, but at least visually, design-wise, I think that will work pretty well. And of course we'll have to decide what color we want those fossils to be. I will also hopefully remember to post in the notes a link to probably the first, or at least maybe a couple of different videos where I describe and demonstrate the curves a little more fully. So if you haven't been watching the videos and are still a little uncomfortable with curves, maybe that will help you. There was something else I was going to say and it went out of my head. So never mind, it will probably come to me. So I'm going to cut this next strip and then we'll do sort of a more massive black area here before we start on the next set of sedimentary strips. Kind of turning into the Princess and the Pea concept, isn't it? We are making progress, and I'm not paying really close attention, so I'm starting to lose quite a bit over here, just a little bit here, but it's all right. Of course, if you were wanting a block of a specific size, then you would want to do it oversized because you're going to lose some on the ends unless you are cutting pieces extra long when you're putting these on. Okay, and this is wonkifying down here. It's okay, I can straighten that up later. So next comes the piece where this we're going to have the void here with the black in order to put bubbles in there. So again, probably fairly narrow here, but perhaps a little wider. Maybe. We'll see how the cut goes. All right, and then we'll have a piece of black to match that. And then we'll come back and get ready to curve start to curve this the other way. I have to visualize this way so that I can put another bubble here. Of course, we've got bubble space here as well. It could be kind of fun. All right. We'll do that black piece and be back. Oh, the other thing that what I was going to tell you the moment ago and forgot, because this is, some of these have been pretty steep curves, I am stopping more often. I've got needle down. I'm stopping more often to kind of shift and adjust things to get the edges to meet without stretching them. All right, now I'm going off to do that black. A question for you. Trying to make this black a good black. If you use black in your quilting, what black is your favorite? What company? I like a good Moda black because it's nice and rich and a deep full color, but I'd be interested in knowing what other folks use. All right, now we are getting down to brass tacks and getting this curve cut. So I want a curve like this, and then one that starts going up again over here. Now, in this particular piece, I may not have room to actually start putting that in, and we want to do that tectonic cut at some point. This is just our sample piece. So I think I want to turn it this way. It will be easier for my brain to visualize it, because you know my brain. I have to use whatever tricks I can into making it believe that I actually have some concept, here goes my elbow again, I'm sorry, of spatial relationships. Okay. Oh, now it looks like a fish with an eye, or a bird with an eye, or a bird with a hole in its stomach. A spotted bird. Nah, it looks like a fish, isn't it? Big old fish eye. All right, next print. What do we want to use? Do we want to use something bright and funky like this? Do we want to do something colorful and floral like this? This, I think, is great. I would love to do a whole piece that is just this fun geometric kind of thing, but for this piece, let's go with this one. And this is going to be interesting, cutting this curve. And I'm going to have to sew skimpy seams up there because I haven't got a whole lot of leeway. Thinking about what will get cut off on each end here. All right, so I'm going to cut that curve and then we'll come back and see where we want to go from there. Here we are. I'm likely going to lose this entirely when I do the next seam. Not worried about it. I think this probably wants a little larger bubble in there, but I'm not sure. It's a question for another moment. And then we'll start doing this. Now, it is about time for my class with Sheila, so I need to have some lunch. I will add on some more strips here, and then after class is finished, I will come back and see where we go from here and try the tectonic or the fault line there. And I will post here a photo. Some of you mentioned that you like seeing what I'm working on in the class. Here's a photo of my in progress project for this week. It's been a full week with other stuff, so I'm not going to get nearly finished with it, but that at least is the work in progress. So there's a photo of what I designed in Procreate, and then where I think I'm going to end up, or at least where I am at this point. I think I might want it a little simpler than what I had in the Procreate design. So we'll see how that turns out. I will see you later. I am back, and this yellow seems to be doing a good job with having the camera adjust to this black. So I did the larger bubble space here. This, I decided to do a stripe that sort of matches the purple and the pink down here. And you can see that it is taken up in the seam in some places. So it's an interesting sedimentary thing. And then I wanted to do a black and white, but I thought it really needed some black in between just to rest everything. And then instead of a black and white stripe, I decided to do another black and white print, and you'll see why in a minute. Now, this yellow is brighter than it appears here, but just imagine that because it's doing good things for the black, so I don't want to try to adjust that color. But it is brighter and is closer to the yellow down here. So as I was looking at this, I thought, you know, do I want to end it with the yellow, which is a sort of a, I don't know, a finishing on its own. But of course, the other option is to make that a layer of sediment and add a black piece up there. Gives it a different feel. Now this is a solid color because I thought there was so much going on that the eye needed really to be able to rest a little bit as it moved up. So there are two options. I actually like both of them. Probably for purposes of this one, I'll add some black back up there, kind of pulls everything together. Now, you'll see why I did the black and white in a minute. This is fine, but if you add in a big black and white piece here, and actually I think I want that to be maybe vertical, that piece, then it's more about the black and white. It's not all about the black and white, but then all of these prints serve to just sort of draw your eye in to this focal point. And I really, really like that. You could also add other bubbles, circles, whatever, in different places. I think if I were adding more, I might want this a little larger. If I put it here, then there's some more weight down here, but the black gives you quite a bit of weight here. I might want that a little larger up there. And then that sort of lifts the eye up and just the whole feeling of rising. So I kind of like that. So some different options. I've decided not to do the whole fault line thing where I would cut it and then shift it up a little bit, because I don't think that really works for what I ended up doing here. On the other piece, if I had done this, but maybe without the circles yet, then that would make more sense. I think that would look better because these are straighter lines, closer to horizontal. These are so curvy that I think you would lose the effect of that stratification because they're going to end up, some of them, so far away, and that it just doesn't work with those curved lines. So not going to do that on this particular piece anyway. But I do like the effect. It's not so much the I have a hard time saying that word, stratigraphy of sedimentary layers, but I do still like the concept, and we started with sedimentary to do that in, you know, fossils and whatnot. So I'm still pretty happy with that, and I like how it turned out, even if it wasn't really quite what I expected. And I hope that you folks who like prints are happy to see how some prints might work in this sort of configuration. So that is it for this week. I have no idea what I'm going to do next week. We seem to be sort of on a scientific theme here. We've got all of this geological stuff. And actually the piece that I'm was making for this week for Sheila's class reminds me of like a chemistry lab, and there's titration and scales and all that kind of thing. So maybe I'm on a science kick. I was on fairy tales for a while. I'll probably go back to them, but I'm on kind of a scientific kick right now, I guess. So I have no idea what I'll do next week, but whatever it is, I hope I'll see you there. And in the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.